Hi everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I have something really special for you. I want to show you how to make the Tyrian shoulder wrap or cowl that I'm wearing. It is so much fun and easy to make. It's very easy also to switch up the size or even to modify it to your personal preferences. Well, let me go ahead and show you what you're going to need. For this project, I will be using 3 hanks of this beautiful hand-dyed yarn from Banshee Fiber Art Studio. Each hank is made of 50% superwash merino, 50% silk. Each hank has 231 yards or 100 grams per skein. This is a 4-ply yarn, a DK or number 3 weight yarn. I do have a link in the video description below should you be interested in acquiring some of this yarn from the Banshee Fiber Art Studios Etsy site. I'm also recommending that you have 2 crochet hooks. I'm going to be starting with the size H or 8 or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook, and then as we get past the middle and beyond, I'm going to be switching to a size I or 9 or 5.50 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I recommend that you have a yarn needle and a pair of sharp scissors handy. And I'm also recommending that you have a measuring tape so that you can measure as we go, since this is a fitted item. To begin, we are going to start with a slip knot, and then we are going to make a starting chain of 19 chains. For row 1, we are going to start in the 4th chain from the hook, and we are going to work a double crochet in this stitch and in each stitch across. And just for clarity, I am working on one side of the V's of each of these chains. I'm not working in the back bump. We are going to be joining this together, so the chain itself will be hidden, so there's really not a huge reason to have to go through the trouble of working in that back bump. But if you prefer to do it that way, you are certainly welcome. So go ahead and work those double crochets all the way across. Once you finish, you should have a total of 16 double crochets, and that stitch count is not including the chain 3 at the beginning. After completing those 16 double crochets, we are going to turn to begin row 2. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip the first double crochet, and the next 3 stitches will be front post double crochets. In the post stitches, the stitch, or rather the hook, will go around the body of the stitch, and then you complete the double crochet as you normally would. So instead of going in through the top loops, we just wrap the hook around the body of the stitch like so. So we work 3 front post double crochets. After doing that, we're going to work into the top loops of the next stitch and work a half double crochet. We're going to do that 3 more times. So 3 front post double crochets, and then a half double crochet. So what we're doing now is we're working the foundational rows for the large wheat cable, which will be the central cable of this lovely shoulder wrap and or cowl. So again, 3 front post double crochets, half double, and then we're going to do one more set, 3 front post double crochets, and when we get to the turning chain, we're going to work a half double crochet in the turning chain. Let's go ahead and take a look. So you should have 4 sets of the 3 front posts separated by the half double. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets. That looks good. So now we're ready to go on to row number 3. For row 3, we're going to chain 2. We're going to skip that first stitch, and we're going to work back post double crochets in each of the next 3 stitches. And for the back post, we come in the back door or the back side of the stitch. The hook wraps around the body, and then we hook the yarn and complete that double crochet as we normally would. If you need additional help for these front and back post double crochets, since we are going to be working a lot of those, as well as the front and back, just the front post treble crochets, go ahead and check the video description below. There should be a link that will take you to additional help, as well as stitches where you can look at the wheat stitch, the large wheat stitch, if you need additional help as well. Okay, so after those 3 back post double crochets, we work a half double, worked again through the top loops of the half double. We're going to do that 3 more times. 3 back post double crochets, followed by the, let's go through all the loops, followed by that half double worked into the top. I'll just go ahead and finish this with you since it's a very small amount of stitches. Again, 3 back post double crochets, followed by a half double, and the last 3 back post double crochets, and a half double worked into that chain 2 turning chain. And for the record, the number of stitches still remains 16, and it will for many rows as we create this large wheat cable. For row number 4, we're going to chain 2. Now this is where we cross the cables. Let me go ahead and explain briefly what we're going to do before we do it. We are going to cross this column on top on this side, and then this column will be on top on the other side. In order to do that, we're going to work what I call a back cross on this side, and on this side we're going to work a, get it focused, I'm going to work a front cross. Okay, I'm going to go over this somewhat slowly, but again, if you need more stitch support, check out some of the other video links in the video description. To begin, we're going to skip that first stitch and the next 3 stitches as well. We're going to work a half double in the next half double. Now working in the next 3 stitches, we're going to work front post treble. So I'm going to wrap the hook twice for these trebles. So we work 1 here and the second one. We only work front post trebles when crossing the cables, and the third one right here. Now this is the tricky part. Now we're going to work front post trebles in each of these 3 stitches that we just skipped, but we're going to work them behind these stitches. And the way we do this is we prepare our hook with the 2 wraps, and then we're going to come into the hole right here behind, and I am depending heavily upon my thumb and my fingers here and upon the nerve endings in them to tell me where to begin the next stitch, which is, I know, right here, because I have my fingers on this stitch, and they help, my fingers help to guide my hook. And if you want to pull this down, you can. And that's the first stitch, and we're going to do that 2 more times. We come in to the hole again, identify the second stitch, which is right here, guide the hook with my thumb and my finger, and then the third front post treble, again coming into the same opening in the back and I've identified the third stitch, which is right here, again using my thumb and my finger, and I identify it and go ahead and complete the treble. All right, so that has crossed, and you can see it is a back cross, and you can tell the difference because the second set crosses behind the first set over here in a slightly more than awkward manner. But anyway, so go ahead and work a half double in the next stitch. And I promise you this next part is going to be much easier. We skip the next 3 stitches, half double in that next half double, front post treble in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Now working in front of these 4 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 3 stitches that we skipped, starting with the one furthest away, which is way over here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And at the end of this row, we work another half double worked in that turning chain. And stop and take a look at what we have. So you see the columns are crossing outward, kind of like, you know, like wheat, one leaf going this way and the other going this, or on the sheaf. Okay, so now let's turn, chain 2, and again skip that first stitch. We're going to work back post double crochets. Again, we only work the trebles when crossing the cables. So now we're back to double crochets. So back post doubles and the next 3 stitches, that's 1, and we just do them in the order that the stitches appear. Okay, so that's 3. Now we need to work a half double crochet, and we do that by working it in between the last stitch and the next stitch. It's right in the center where the cables were crossed. So we're going to put the half double crochet right there in the center, and then 3 more back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip this half double crochet, and we're going to half double crochet in the next one, which is right in the middle of where these 2 sets of columns will be crossed. Now for you mathematicians out there, you've probably already caught on. Yes, we did add an additional stitch here, but we also skipped this stitch from the last row. Thereby these 2 cancel each other out mathematically, maintaining the constant 16 stitch stitch count. The next 3 stitches will be back post double crochets, again just like what we did on the other side of this cable. So that's 1, 2, and 3. A half double again worked in the middle between that last stitch and the next stitch. This is where the 2 sets, or the 2 columns, crossed on that last row, and then 3 more back post double crochets. And again, half double worked in that chain 2 turning chain. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So it is starting to look like something, and I think this beautiful hand-dyed yarn is going to be exquisite with this particular cable. Let's go ahead. The next row, so we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was row 5. This is row number 6. Chain 2, and this is pretty much a repeat of row 2. We're going to work front post double crochets. Again, we're skipping that first stitch. Front post doubles in the first 3, or the next 3 stitches. Half double in the next stitch. 3 more front post double crochets. And this yarn is like crocheting with butter. It is incredibly smooth. Half double crochet right in the middle, and 3 more half double crochets, half double crochet in that next stitch, and 3 more front post double crochets. Just when you work those half doubles, make sure that you're working them in the top loops and not as post stitches. Okay, and the end of the row, half double crochet in that last stitch. So you can see this is really smoothing out. Let's go ahead and do row number 7. Chain 2. Again, skip that first stitch, back post double crochets in the next 3 stitches. This is pretty much a repeat of row number 3. It is the same 3 back post double crochets, half double in the next stitch, and 3 more back post double crochets. All right, half double and the next half double. Again, work through the top loops, and 3 more back post double crochets. Half double in the next stitch, and 3 more back post double crochets. Half double in that turning chain, and let's go ahead and take a look at what we have now. So this is after 7 rows. Okay, now row number 8 is going to be the same as row number 4. We're going to cross the cables again. I'll do this with you one more time. Okay, skip the first stitch and the next 3 stitches, half double in that half double, 3 front post treble crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches, after that, working behind those last 4 stitches. Remember, we're going to come into the hole. Let me show you from behind, and front post treble in each of these stitches. Go ahead and locate them, and if you need to pull this down, you can. That's 1. Coming in, locate that second stitch, 2, and the third time right here. Half double in that next half double. And now the easy part, skip the next 3 stitches, half double in that next half double. Now just pause here a second, and just to show you that really doesn't look like much, but that's what it looks like as before you start working the other side here. Front post treble in the next 3 stitches. Working in front of those last 4 stitches, front post treble in the 3 stitches that I just skipped. Okay, and half double that next half double. Let's pause and take a look at that, and you can see how this cable is opening up as we go. Okay, so now you're going to continue repeating rows 4 through 7 over and over again until this piece measures according to what is across the bottom of the screen. I do have the estimated sizes. I'm going to be making what is going to be a medium, large, and it might even be suitable for an extra large. These sizes, I believe, will fit a variety of size people, and it really is a matter of your preference. If you want to make just a cowl, you might want to limit it your size to the size for a medium to large that I'm going to be making. Now, of course, if you make sizes larger than what I am making, you're going to need extra yarn. So just keep that in mind, and the pattern will have all the information that you need for that. But suffice it right now to just look across the bottom at the estimated number of inches around that you will need for the various sizes. So what you're going to do is repeat rows 4 through 7 until the size is approximately what you see across the bottom of the screen. And anyway, so you want to make sure that you are getting a good measurement and not just following the number of repeats that I do, in case there is a variance in, with the yarn and the materials that you may be using. So go ahead and work that, and then I'll show you what I have. Okay, I have repeated those rows over and over again until I have 27 times I have crossed the cable. So from the very beginning, where we started the first crossing at row 4, I have, including this, I have 27 row crossings. Now let me just say this, that if the yarn that you are using is yielding a different result, first of all, this is approximately 42 inches long, and when I measured this, I did not stretch and pull it. I just left the fabric at rest, and so this is 42 inches long. So what 42 inches represents now is the distance around, with my arms down, the distance that is around you that will measure for a comfortable wrap around the outside of your arms. Now, if you need to make yours longer, you can simply just continue to repeat that 4-row repeat, and each one will be fine. It will work for this pattern. If you want this a little bit smaller, you can just do fewer repetitions. You may want to just have someone check this with you, maybe even measure your circumference around the outside, and don't forget to leave a little bit of space for ease. You don't want it to slide off of you, but you don't want it to be too tight either. So you want to carefully measure that. And this way you can, again, customize this according to exactly how big or small you want this. So now that we have our lovely wheat cable, we are going to make sure that it is flat and with the front side facing us. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I am going to slip stitch both of these so that it forms a circle. Let's go ahead and chain 1, and again, front sides facing, and I'm going to work through the 2 loops of the foundation chain. Remember, I said we were going to be covering most of that up, and then go through the 2 loops of the other side. And let's make sure we pull this out of the way. There we go. And we are going to work slip stitch. We're going to work this across the row. Make sure you don't work this too tight. You want just normal tension doing this. Slip stitches do tend to be tighter for some people, and if that is your case, feel free to bump up to the next size crochet hook as you work this stitch, but then don't forget to return back to your gauge hook. All right, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing here as I work through these loops, and a nice little slip stitch. All of this is going to be on the inside and will not be showing. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and work this all the way across. After lining these stitches up carefully, go ahead and work a slip stitch in those chain spaces. Okay, give it a chain 1, and let's go ahead and take a look at the seam. Okay, this is what the seam looks like on the inside, and this is the outside. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to turn this right side out. There you go. So this beautiful cable is facing outwards. Now we are first going to work the part of the shoulder wrap that's on the bottom side. This is going to be the larger section, okay? And what we're going to do as we work in the row ends, we're going to work 2 double crochets in the first row end and then 1 in the next. And we're going to work that all the way around. 2 single crochets in the next row end and then 1. 2 single crochets in the next row end and then 1. So go ahead and work that all the way around the cable. After working the single crochets all the way around, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, and I have a total of 164 single crochets. Now you may have more or fewer depending on how many cabled rows you worked. So now I'm going to talk just a little bit about math, especially in case your numbers are different. The stitch that we are going to begin working now, our lace stitch, is a multiple of 6. Obviously 164 is 2 stitches more than I need to be an exact multiple of 6. Suffice it to say that I'm going to skip a different number of stitches at the beginning and at the end of the round to compensate for that. Now if your number of stitches is an exact multiple of 6, then you're not going to have to compensate for that in any way. But since I only have to compensate for 2 stitches, that should be very easy to do right at the seam. So let's go ahead and begin round 2. We're going to chain 5. And I'm going to double crochet in the same space as joining. Then I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet in the next stitch. Now I just skipped 3 in order to compensate for one of those 2 stitches that I mentioned already. But if you have an exact multiple of 6 in your round, 6 single crochets, then you just need to skip 2 stitches there. I hope that's not too confusing, but going forward, this is going to be our repeat. We're going to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, and in the next stitch, we're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, a treble crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet and chain 1. Skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so let me do this a couple more times. Chain 1, skip 2 stitches. In that next stitch, we work a double crochet, chain 1, a treble crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet, chain 1, skip 2 stitches, and single crochet in that next stitch. And this is what your stitches should look like. Now when we come around to this at the end, we're going to work an additional double crochet in this space, and I'll show you the connection so it will look like these other 2 motifs here. So go ahead and work this all the way around. After working this all the way around, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches and we're going to work a double crochet in that last stitch of the round and give it a chain 1. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that turning chain, just like that. Go ahead and chain 1. We're going to turn. And in the same place as joining, we're going to work a single crochet in that space, a chain 1. And then we're going to skip the chain 1 and the double crochet and the chain 1. And we're going to work a treble crochet in the single crochet from the previous round, like this, chain 1, and then we're going to work in the side of the treble like this. We're going to work a double crochet, we're going to wrap the hook, and then we're going to put our hook through 2 of the loops along the side of that treble, and then complete the double crochet like this, you end up with like a Y type stitch. Go ahead and chain 1, a single crochet in the top of the next treble. So I just wanted to have you see that we're going to be skipping the chain, the double, the chain. And since that's just a lot to say, just single crochet in the top of the next treble, chain 1, and we're going to skip to the next single crochet, which is down here. And again, we work a treble in that stitch, chain 1, and a double crochet along the side of that stitch, just like that. Just be careful to do that stitch carefully with those 2 strands. Chain 1, skip to the treble, which is the tallest stitch in the cluster, and work a single crochet there. Chain 1, and then again skip down to the single crochet and work a treble crochet, chain 1, and then work that double crochet along the side. Make sure you get those 2 strands. There we go. Chain 1, and then a single crochet again in that top of that treble, which is the center of those 3 stitches of the cluster. Chain 1, and again treble crochet, chain 1, and that double crochet worked along the side, chain 1, etc. So go ahead and work that all the way around, and you can see just how lovely this lace is starting to look. After working this all the way around, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. Let's go ahead and chain 1, and we are going to turn, and we should have the front side facing us once again, and we're going to work a single crochet in the same place as joining. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're back really to row 1, but it is worked differently. Let me go ahead and pull that back out. Instead of working in the single crochets, we're going to be working the clusters in the top of this Y stitch that we formed with that treble crochet and the double crochet along the side. So we work a double crochet, chain 1, a treble crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. Again, follow that with a chain 1 and single crochet in the next single crochet, chain 1, and then again working in the chain 1 space of that Y stitch, work a double crochet, chain 1, a treble crochet, chain 1, and again another double crochet and a chain 1, and again single crochet in the next single crochet. And so go ahead and work this all the way around. So at the end of round 4, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that very first single crochet of the round. Now let's go ahead and turn, and we are going to chain 5. After we do that, we are going to single crochet in that first chain that we crocheted, which is making that Y stitch, chain 1, and single crochet in the top of that treble crochet, chain 1, and then again treble crochet in the next single crochet, chain 1, and then we're going to work a double crochet. Remember, going through those 2 strands along the side of that treble, just like that, chain 1, and then we're going to repeat that all the way around. I'll do it again for you. Single crochet in the top of that treble, which is the center stitch of that 3-stitch cluster, chain 1, and down into the single crochet we're going to work a treble crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet along the side, chain 1, and then again single crochet in the top of that treble. So go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of row number 5, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that chain right there on that Y stitch. And let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So row 1 was the single crochet row, and then starting with the lace we have rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what we're going to do now is pretty important. We're going to change to one size larger hook. This will give a little more ease in the stitches without having to change the stitch count in any way, shape, or form. And so what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and give it a chain. And we're going to turn back to the front side facing. Again, we're going to chain 5 and double crochet in the same place as joining. And again, that would be inside the top of that Y stitch. Chain 1, single crochet in the next single crochet, chain 1, and then now we're back to working the cluster of the double crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, chain 1 in the top of the chain 1 space of that Y stitch, and then single crochet in the next single crochet, chain 1, and then again let's work another cluster in the chain 1 space of that Y stitch. So go ahead and repeat rounds 2 through 5 3 times more. You should have a total of 17 rounds once you complete this section. And just as a helpful reminder, when you come around to end round number 6, which again is a repeat of round number 2, we're going to work a double crochet in the same space, chain 1, and then join with a slip stitch to this chain, and then again then go ahead on with the repeat for round 3, 4, and 5, and then again repeat rounds 2 through 5. This is what you should have after completing these 17 rounds. 16 of these rounds is using the lace stitching. Now we're going to work one more round. Let's go ahead and chain 5. So we have 5 chains, and we are going to work a double crochet in that same place where we joined, which is at the top of the Y. We're basically going to repeat. Let me go ahead and show this to you. Go ahead and repeat round 2 again, and I'll go ahead and start this for you. And a single crochet in that single crochet, chain 1, and just as a little review, this is where we work the 3 stitch cluster in the top of that chain 1 of the Y created from the previous row, and a single crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way around, and this will be the bottom edging, which will give it the shell appearance for the bottom. And after we complete this round, I'll show you how to rejoin, and we will begin the portion on the top part of the shoulder wrap. At the end of this round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top, there we go, of that stitch, and give it a chain and give it a little tug. And I'm going to use a pair of sharp scissors and cut a generous long strand, so that'll be much easier for hiding in at the end of the project. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. There we go. And so this is the cable and the bottom part. Isn't that lovely? I just love the way the yarn has received the dye. It's just so pretty, and it feels like butter in my fingers. Now we're going to go back to the point here where the cable was connected. So now we have the bottom portion completed. Now we're going to use the top. We're going to work the same lace pattern around the top, but I'm going to show you just how to begin this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to return back to our smaller crochet hook. So make sure you go back to the smaller hook, and we are going to join our yarn. Let's go ahead and make a slip stitch. There we go. And let's try to help the camera to focus a little better. And I'm going to go ahead and make a chain so we can join. Now I'm going to make 2 single crochets in that same space. And whereas we worked 2, then 1, 2, then 1 all the way around, we're going to make fewer stitches, just slightly fewer stitches around the top, so that it will come in a little bit more tightly, so that you have a little more of a conical effect, or like the shape of a cone. Okay, so we work 2 single crochets in that first row end, and then 1 in the next one, and 1 in the next one. So in the next we work 2 single crochets, and then in the next 2 we just work 1. And so this is what we're going to work all the way around. 2 single crochets in the next row in, then 1 in the next, and then 1 in the next. So go ahead and work that all the way around. After working the 2 single crochets in one row end, and then 1 in each of the next 2 row ends, you should have 1 row end left. Just work 1 single crochet in that. You should have 145 stitches in this round. And again, so we're going to have 1 extra, which that is not divisible by 6, so we will take care of that at the beginning of this next round. Let's go ahead and join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. Now we're going to begin round 2 of the upper portion of the shoulder wrap, and this is actually row 1 of the lace. So we're going to chain 5 just like we did at the beginning of the bottom section, and a double crochet in the same place as joining. Chain 1, we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet in that next space, chain 1, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we are going to work that 3 stitch cluster that you should be very good at working now. The double crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, just like we worked on the bottom portion. Skip 2 and single crochet in that next stitch. So go ahead and work rounds 2 through 17 the same as you worked on the bottom section. You are going to have a slightly different stitch count just because it's a smaller circumference, fewer stitches in the round. The only difference is do not change hook sizes. Please maintain the smaller hook size for all 17 rounds. So go ahead and complete that section, and I will show you what we have. Well, I hope you enjoyed making the Tyrian shoulder wrap cowl with me today. If you did, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to post a comment below in the comments section. God bless. Bye-bye.